Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? It's Thursday, 7 p.m., and I'm back for my weekly Thursday live stream. So let me just open my Facebook group again. Just going to wait a few more minutes until I see others hop on. I want to join in on our conversation tonight. I hope you guys can hear me. I've been having some IT issues lately. I'm just going to move that up a little bit. I hope it's okay. Just open up my Facebook group and then we get started. Here I am. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. I hope that you had a wonderful day today. It's been a beautiful day in Ontario. We are so lucky that we have been having this beautiful weather in the past couple of days because it was really, really cold. We've had a really cold spring. Anyways, here we are. It's all for the better now. It's going uphill regarding the weather. So I hope you guys had a beautiful day. If you hop on here, let me know who's here. And give me a wave, give me a hello in the comments. Let me know that you're here and listening and taking in this information. Today, I'm going to be talking about the cortisol constipation connection. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Hello, I'm going to see who's here. I can see the name of whoever just hopped on. Let me just see. Hey, Kimberly, how's it going? Okay, yes, the perfect topic you needed right now. I know I have been struggling myself and I know why. And this is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So I hope this is going to be very, very helpful for some of you guys in here. Um, Before I get started, I always like to introduce myself a little bit because we do get new members almost daily, which is exciting. And so my name is Cordula Marshall. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. I am the founder of this wonderful group here, and I'm also the founder of several coaching programs that I'm guiding my clients through, and specifically around autoimmune disease, chronic illness, really. So this is my focus. Adrenal fatigue, yes, adrenal fatigue certainly plays a huge role in all of this as well. So that's me in a nutshell. And tonight I'm going to be talking about the cortisol stress connection. And I do have my notes because I want to cover a few things. I just want to make sure that I don't forget anything to cover. So many of us in here have constipation issues. So I posted in the group today I asked you guys, where would you rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 around consistency? And consistency in being, how often can I go to the bathroom? It is in our society, it's not quite clear. People believe they're not constipated because overall, the idea is when you talk to doctors, is that if you can go every other day, up to 3 days, that's normal. I hear that often that, women or people in general go to the bathroom for number two every other day and don't think of anything because they have been told it's normal. It is not normal. It's common, but it's not normal. You should be you should be able to release waste um, every day, at least once a day. Best case scenario, twice, sometimes even 3 times, but I would say twice a day is sufficient. And it's not very common. And even though in the question that I asked, even though people say they are being consistent, um, they also added to the question to their answer is that the consistency of their bowel movements is not smooth. So they're straining a lot. There's a lot of it's hard. It's really hard to to purge and all of it. And so all of this is called constipation. So all of this is constipation. Constipation means that you have to strain. You don't feel fully um, as if your bowels have been fully emptied. So what you should be feeling is when you sit on the toilet and you go to the bathroom and you go for number two, is that afterwards it's almost your belly is sinking in and you feel entirely relieved. Sometimes you even get a little bit of cramping because the peristalsis, the wave-like motion in which your digestive system pushes out the waste, is almost like has like a little bit of a spasm there because all of a sudden everything has been moved out of your system. So this is how you should be feeling. I know that a lot of people are not feeling that. And I also know that a lot of people here are trying to do the right thing. They know they have to eat more fiber, so they increase their fiber intake. They know they have to drink lots of water, and they do that. They exercise and all of it. And they're flabbergasted because they still can't go to the bathroom regularly, or they can't they can't feel 100% as if they have purged everything 100% afterwards. And if that's you, if that's the case for you, give me a hand up, let me know, and we will be talking about stress and the cortisol constipation connection because that's a topic you should definitely look into when you are doing all the things and you still can't go to the bathroom. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be guiding you a little bit through a nervous system that is involved, so you get to understand as to why this is happening, and then I can give you some tips and ideas on how you can start to navigate that a little bit better. So as we know, there's a couple of nervous systems in our body, and one of them is called the enteric nervous system or intrinsic nervous system. So let me know if you have heard of that before, if you know what it is. I would like to know if that's a term that you're familiar with. So the enteric nervous system is really, so you have the autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system in your body really is the nervous system that governs all of your automatic, actions that your body functions, that your body does on a regular basis. So your autonomic nervous system is basically governing your digestion, right? You don't have to kind of like think about like other than use, for example, the opposite would be you think about moving your arm and then you're moving your arm. This is not autonomic. This is like that is your willpower. But the autonomic nervous system is done, it happens automatically in your body. So digestion, breathing, your heart, your lungs even, all of that is governed by the autonomic nervous system. And one part of the autonomic nervous system is called the enteric nervous system. And the enteric nervous system is basically it's a large part of the autonomic nervous system. It's it's the largest and it's the most complex peripheral nervous system in your body. And it consists of numerous, so many mesh-like, it's almost like a mesh-like arranged neurons within the GI tract. So it's a nervous system that is entirely based within your, mucus lining of the GI tract. And it's also connected with your brain. So this is where the term gut-brain axis is coming from, really. And you can think about it as if the enteric nervous system is running from really your esophagus all the way down to your rectum, and it's governed by the gut-brain axis. So it's responsible for bi-directional communication between the central nervous system and your enteric nervous system. So that includes so many pieces. That includes, for example, the vagus nerve, right? Which is the largest nerve that starts in your brain stem. It goes all the way down into your gut. So your brain is connected with the gut with that enteric nervous system. There's a direct connection between your brain and your gut that way. But also part of it is it's the vagus nerve, which I just said, but also immune cells, as well as the HPA axis, so the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal gland axis, and as well as gut microbes and the metabolites of those gut microbes. All of those um, pieces come together as in the gut brain axis, and it's part of the enteric nervous system, which makes your gut communicate with your brain. So when we're talking about cortisol and when we're talking about stress, now we understand and we realize that it's 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 very it's a very complex system, and every part of your body responds in a certain way. So it's not to say, like, we all heard of the fight or flight, and the fight or flight, if we under stress, we know that we might have digestive upsets and all of it. But what you need to understand is that the stress that you're experiencing is it's not just triggering your adrenal glands. It's not just triggering your adrenal glands to produce cortisol, right? Because your adrenal glands produce cortisol, which is one thing, but the environment that you're creating for yourself is also affecting your gut microbiome as well as your enteric nervous system function, because the cortisol is now coming in and driving away the blood flow and driving away the function from your digestion, from your enteric nervous system to your muscles and to your, to your speed and to your quick thinking and to all of these functions, that the blood flow is being cut off to your digestive system, because at this moment in time, your body doesn't believe that digestive function is necessary in order to survive, right? So your enteric nervous system, all your nerves in your gut, they're sensing that you are under stress, and they are communicating back and forth with your brain around the situation, and they're making that decision that it's not safe for you to digest right now properly, but it's safe for you to activate your muscles and your quick thinking, and your adrenaline goes up and your cortisol goes up, so that you can actually take physical action during this moment in time. So it's super, super important to understand that there's a lot of things involved during the stress response, during the cortisol response, and that your enteric nervous system is critical. Is a critical factor in you, in your digestion slowing down. And it's critical to understand that the enteric nervous system is involved in that, and understand that the enteric nervous system, the neurons that are scanning your environment, that are sitting in your within your gut, are actually communicating back to your brain. But remember, like what I said before, it's in a bi-directional way. So it's not just that your enteric nervous system in your gut senses stress, and your microbiome senses stress, and they communicate with one another. They're then sending the signals to your brain, which then the brain decides what to do, and the brain decides to move away all the all the blood from the digestive function to fight or flight, and which can then cause constipation. But it's also important to understand that it goes the other way. So it goes the other way, which means that perceived stress that you are creating yourself, even negative thoughts, worrying about your future, worrying about what will happen tomorrow, worrying about your children, what might happen to your children, creating stories in your head that your brain doesn't know whether it's real or not is going to have the same effect on your enteric nervous system than as if you were exposed to a truck that is threatening to run you down in the middle of the road. So this is really important to understand, which means that to summarize here, which means is that your enteric nervous system and the gut brain axis is very much involved in the stress response, which means that that it can create constipation for you. And the cortisol hormone is always involved because the cortisol hormone is your stress hormone. And cortisol hormone has many important functions in your body, including it's an anti-inflammatory as well, right? So, which makes sense because if you are exposed to danger and you might get hurt, and then in fact, if you get hurt, and cortisol is running through your system, then your cortisol is anti-inflammatory and can actually support you in wound healing. So there's a certain necessity for cortisol in your body, and cortisol shuts down your digestive function, right? Because of the enteric system that is involved, the gut microbiome that is responding to the cortisol release. And but the issue here is that we have to understand that if we are doing everything right, if we're drinking the water, if we are taking in the fiber, if we are exercising enough, and we still can go to the bathroom, then we need to take chronic stress into consideration. And I see it over and over and over again when I ask my women in my group or my clients and ask them, so you're doing all the things, but how's your sleep? How do you sleep? Right? Um, how's your stress? And a lot of them, I would say 90% of them answer and say, yeah, I don't sleep very well, right? Or my stress levels are pretty high. But it's been almost in our society seen as, well, it's almost normal, right? It's something that happens to everybody and it's just a given. But we have to really understand that this can be detrimental on our digestive system. Especially it can certainly cause constipation for us. It can cause a constipation for us. And if we are not um, getting that constipation under control, then we are adding to an inflammatory response because we are not ridding our body of waste that is spewing toxins if it's starting to sit in our system and starts to ferment and causing metabolites to create havoc inside our bodies. So we really have to make sure that we are addressing our stress levels consistently so that we are able to go to the bathroom on a regular basis. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. And if you want, you should look into the enteric nervous system. It's an incredible, unbelievable system in our bodies that is so interconnected. Look into the gut brain axis and everything that's involved to really understand what's happening in there. So let me just refer to my notes to see if I have if I have covered everything. Yes. So there's one thing I wanted to mention, which is also really important is, so when you eat your food, the neurons that line your digestive tract, part of the enteric nervous system, so the neurons that line your digestive tract actually signal your intestines to contract and digest your food. So when there's food coming into your system, the neurons of the enteric nervous system are signaling your intestines to contract and digest your food. And when you're under stress, this digestive process can really, really slow down because cortisol is released, and sometimes even serotonin. So serotonin is released as well, and then serotonin actually can cause spasms inside your GI tract, and sometimes that leads to diarrhea. So when there's a lot of serotonin, it can really trigger your colon to have those spasms, which can cause diarrhea. But if the spasms are only in one part of your GI tract, it can actually cause the opposite effect, which it can halt and pause further digestion of waste. So that is another interesting little side fact that I wanted to mention. Um, Yeah, so the bottom line is if your body is constantly in a stressful state and cortisol levels remain elevated, your enteric nervous system and your microbiome is going to respond to the elevated cortisol levels on a regular basis. So they are believing that they are in a state of consistent stress, and they therefore have to slow down your digestive system so that you are constantly able to fight or flight, right? So, yes, I'm going to spell it ENS, which is called enteric nervous system. And sometimes it's also referred to as the intrinsic nervous system. So yeah, so I hope this is I hope this is really that really triggers you to kind of like sit back and reassess your stress levels and make sure that you can that you're putting steps into place in order to address those. So what can you do in order to interrupt your stress response, right? I mean, there's a million things you can do in order to interrupt that cycle, but there's a few things that you can do that actually help you very, very quickly to get out of a stress response in order to shift back into the parasympathetic state of rest and digest. So think about the gut brain axis. Keep that in mind when you are thinking about how can I release stress that way. Number one is your breathing. Your breath is very, very, very powerful. Um, I actually just had a conversation with one of my clients, and she has high stress levels at her job. So, and sometimes when you are experiencing stress, um, that is not physical, then you start to breathe in a shallow way. So oftentimes when I read the news, for example, I sit in front of my computer and I read the news, and I can feel that my adrenaline is going up. I can sense the stress response coming on very quickly. And then when I tune in into my body, and when I observe myself, I realize that my breathing has become very shallow during that moment in time. So being aware of that is step one, and then taking these deep breaths during these times will instantly reset your stress responses, will instantly reset you from your fight and flight into the rest and digest. So being aware of, being aware of of yourself, being triggered by something that causes you stress is really important. So whether that's a family member that is triggering you, whether that is a coworker, reading the news, stay away from reading the news come like 8 p.m. at the latest. I don't even read the news anymore at night. It's not helpful. Yeah, so breathing is super, super important. What you can also do is, if you have time, if you have the ability to do that, is to put your legs up the wall. So if you lie on the floor and then if you elevate your legs and press them up against the wall, this is sending a signal to your adrenal gland that all is safe, because you are in a position where you can't run. You're in a position where you can't fight, and it signals the adrenals, okay, it's all good. We can stop releasing. And so this is extremely helpful as well, and can very quickly bring down your stress response as well. So those are just two things that you can do very quickly in order to intercept that stress response. And if you find yourself that you're going through periods of time where you feel more constipated than usual, really assess your stress, really assess your lifestyle, and how you manage your stress response, and kind of like be more mindful and incorporate more of those stress relieving activities that work for you. I can personally say from my own experience, the past couple of weeks again, it has been much more stressful for me, because we are in constant lockdown, stay-at-home order. It's been over a year now, so for us, it has been it's been ongoing. And yeah, so my body is a little bit more tired than usual, not so resilient anymore. So I know why I'm feeling that way, and I'm starting to really pay attention to that and start to incorporate more and more of my stress management activities. So let me know if this was helpful for you guys, and if you learned something today. And yeah, if you have any questions, ask away, and let me know. If not, then I hope that you are enjoying the rest of your evening, and make sure that you are getting your constipation out of the way, whatever it takes, and never underestimate stress in anything, especially when it comes to your digestion. Keep drinking the water, keep eating your fiber, but also think about your personal stress levels and how you can address it. All right. Okay, guys, I hope that you have a nice evening, and I will see you guys very soon.